Good day everyone. So this recording is about the discussion ng lecture for chapter 26 which is land and building, as well as discussion na rin ng iilan or konting problems dito sa chapter 26. So yung mga technical knowledge na dapat natin makuha for this chapter is first is ma-identify natin kung ano yung mga costs na sinasama natin or dapat nating i-classify sa land account. Second is to know the treatment of issues related to land such as land improvements, special assessments, and real property taxes, which is ito yung mga nagagastos natin in relation doon sa acquisition or improvement natin ng land. And syempre, since land and building nga itong chapter na to, dapat ma-identify din natin yung mga costs that are normally charged to the building when purchased and when constructed. So, purchased kapag binili, constructed kapag in-start natin siya from scratch. And to know the treatment of issues related to buildings such as sidewalks, pavements, parking lot, driveways, ventilating system, lighting system, and elevator. Ito kasing mga to possible na maging kasama sila sa cost ng building natin, but at the same time po pwede rin silang masama as land improvement. So parang merong issues regarding dito sa mga accounts na to na dapat nating matackle or dapat nating madiscuss in this chapter. So, start with the land account. So, land used as a plant site shall be treated as property, plant, and equipment. So, plant site, ibig sabihin yung mga factory natin or yung building kung saan tayo nagpo-produce ng mga products natin or ginagamit natin for our office is dapat daw isama natin siya as property, plant, and equipment. So, kumbaga, dito sa first part ng discussion natin ay binigyan tayo ng iba't ibang possible na classification ng land. Kasi hindi porket sinabi na land, PPE na agad. So, para daw masabi mo na PPE ang isang land, dapat ginagamit siya as a plant site. Ibig sabihin, doon nakatayo yung factory or yung building na ginagamit natin in our daily operations. Tapos, kapag naman yung land is held for currently undetermined use, ibig sabihin as of the moment, hindi natin pa alam kung ano talaga yung specific purpose na paggagamitan natin ng lupa na yon. Basta binili or inacquire lang natin siya. So, kapag ganito, ang treatment natin sa kanya ay investment property. So, investment property is also a non-current asset, kaso hindi siya or iba siya doon sa PPE. Kasi kapag PPE, yung land, doon nakatayo si factory or si building na ginagamit for our daily operations. Pero kapag investment property, hindi pa natin siya ginagamit, nakastock lang siya, nakastay lang siya, tapos as of the moment, ay hindi pa natin alam exactly kung ano yung paggagamitan niya. However daw, if the land is held definitely, so bali sure ka na yung land is held definitely as a future plant site, ibig sabihin ay as of the moment, alam mo sa sarili mo na yung lupa na yon or alam ng company nyo na yung lupa na yon ayun yung pagtatayuan ng mga future building, future plant site, future factory na meron tayo. It will be classified daw as owner-occupied property and not an investment property. So kapag ganun, i-include natin siya as property, plant, and equipment. So kapag hindi mo alam kung ano yung gamit ni land, investment property siya. Pero once na sigurado ka, kahit wala pa namang building ngayon doon na nakatayo, pero sigurado ka na ayun yung pagtatayuan ng mga future plant site natin, then it should be classified as PPE or property, plant, and equipment. Tapos yung mga land din na ginagamit for long-term capital appreciation, ibig sabihin parang binili mo lang si lupa tapos hinihintay mo na tumaas yung value niya. Pag tumaas yung value, possible na ibenta mo or possible na kumita ka due to the capital appreciation. Kasi sabi natin yung land hindi naman siya nagde-depreciate, 'di ba? In fact, nag-a-appreciate pa siya or tumataas yung kanyang value. So, yung mga ganitong klase naman, held for long-term capital appreciation, investment property din siya. So, actually, si investment property, yung chapter na niya ay lagpas na sa PPE. So, dapat kasabayan siya ng mga investments doon sa first semester natin, no? Kaso, we were not able to tackle na si investment property. But I do hope that in the succeeding courses na pag-aaralan nyo once na mag-third year na kayo, ay matakal nyo si investment investment property. I will be informing na lang din yung mga possible na susunod na instructors natin na hindi na i-take sa intermediate accounting si investment property due to the limited amount of time. Tapos naman kapag for sale, yung land natin, so land held for current sale by a real estate developer, ibig sabihin ayun talaga yung binebenta niya, part yon ng mga goods or part yon ng products na binebenta niya, it should be treated as a current asset as part of inventory. Kasi ayun yung pinaka-product niya, ayun yung binebenta niya. Therefore, dapat inventory siya. So, parang ang pinakasama rin natin, no, kapag ang land ay isang future plant site or plant site na talaga siya, PPE. Tapos, kapag ang land hindi mo pa alam kung para saan siya gagamitin o kaya hinihintay mo lang na tumaas yung kanyang value, magkaroon ng capital appreciation, investment property naman siya. Tapos kapag yung land ay binebenta mo within your daily normal operations, inventory naman po siya. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, no, hindi porket land, PPE na agad. So, cost chargeable to land. So, ito yung mga sinasama natin sa halaga ng land. First is the purchase price, kung magkano mo siya binili. Tapos, yung mga legal fees and other expenditures para magkaroon tayo ng clean title. Kasi kapag binili natin yan, syempre dapat mapasa sa atin yung pangalan, which is nakatitulo dapat. Then, yung mga broker or agent commission, because napaka dami niyan kapag bibili ka ng land, sobrang daming mag-o-offer sa'yo ng mga broker, tapos bibigyan mo sila ng commission. Escrow fees as well, fees for registration and transfer of title, then cost of relocation or reconstruction of property belonging to others in order to acquire possession. Minsan kasi yung land na bibilin natin, meron pang nakatayo or parang meron pang nakakonstruct doon na pagmamay-ari ng ibang tao. Syempre, minsan kailangan para magamit mo si land, kailangan nating ipatanggal yon, kailangan nating iparelocate yon. So, lahat ng magagastos mo para mapatanggal yung mga property na nandoon sa lupa ay kasama siya sa cost ng land. Kasi kumbaga, hindi mo magagamit si lupa, hindi mo magagamit si land hanggang nandoon yung property belonging to others. That's why you have to relocate them. 'Di ba kung familiar kayo sa mga sabihin na nating squatters, ganyan. 'Di ba parang naninirahan sila doon sa isang lugar kahit hindi naman nila pagmamay-ari 'yon. Kaya once na may nakabili na nung lupa, problema na nung nakabili kung paano silang papaalisin doon. So lahat ng cost para mapaalis sila, i-charge 'yon sa cost ng land. Pero kung may building, ibang usapan pa 'yon, no? So mamaya sa building naman siya. So mortgages, encumbrances. So, ibig sabihin kung merong mga utang na naka-attach doon sa lupa that is assumed by the buyer, sama natin siya sa cost ng land. Ibig sabihin, assumed by the buyer, parang ikaw na yung magbabayad ng mga utang kasi binili mo na yung lupa. Then, unpaid real property taxes up to the date of acquisition. So, take note, no, up to the date of acquisition lang. Unpaid real property taxes. Ibig sabihin din kasi, possible yung mga lupang mabibili natin ay merong mga taxes na hindi nababayaran pa nung mga nakaraang taon. So, kung nabili mo siya ng 2025, say for example, lahat ng property taxes ng before 2025, before the date of acquisition, isasama mo siya sa cost ng land. If i-assume siya nung buyer natin. Pero yung mga subsequent, ibig sabihin, mga 2025 onwards, lahat ng taxes doon, expense na. So, lahat ng taxes before, bago mo bilhin, tapos binayaran mo, sa cost ng land yon. So, makakapitalize siya sa land. Pero lahat ng taxes after mong mabili, yung land natin, sa tax expense na siya. So, sa expenses na natin siya masasama. Then, cost of survey, ito kasi parang process siya, no, doon sa lupa. Parang sinosurvey kung ganong katigas ba, ganyan. Di ko rin alam, hindi naman ako engineer, no. Pero, ayun, parang sinosurvey yung quality ng land na meron tayo. Then, payments to tenants to induce them to vacate the land in order to prepare the land for the intended use but not to make room for the construction of a new building. So, ito pala yung sinasabi ko doon sa mga squatter, ganyan. So, kung yung mga squatter nandoon sa lupa na yon na binili natin, so, syempre, kailangan natin siyang mapaalis para magamit natin yung land for its intended use. So, kapag ganun, isasama natin lahat ng magagastos para mapaalis sila doon sa lupa, isasama natin yun sa land. Kung wala tayong itatayong building. Kasi kung papaalisin natin sila, tapos kaya natin sila pinaalis dahil gusto natin makapagpa-construct ng bagong building, then yung cost, dapat dun siya sa building. So parang ano siya, no? Ano ba yung dahilan? Bakit mo pinaalis yung mga tao? Kung pinaalis mo sila para lang magamit yung land for its intended use, halimbawa, para siya magkaroon ng capital appreciation or as of the moment is undetermined pa kung ano yung pinaka-purpose niya, then yung cost na nagastos mo para mapabakante yung lote is sa land siya i-charge. Pero kung kaya mo sila pinaalis ay para makapagpatayo ka ng bagong building, then yung cost na nagastos mo dapat sa building siya. Kumbaga, yung purpose, titingnan natin. Kung para makapagpatayo ka ng building yung purpose, then dapat yung cost niya is sa building. Then, cost of permanent improvements such as cost of clearing, cost of grading, leveling, and landfill. Ito naman kapag kasi minsan hindi maganda yung quality ng land na meron tayo, no? Minsan parang mapuno pa siya, so ipapa-clear mo. Minsan parang medyo medyo malambot siya, ganyan. So, parang dadagdagan mo or papatigasin mo pa siya. So, lahat ng mga magagastos natin for that para magamit natin yung land for its intended use ay kasama siya sa cost ng land natin. Next po is the cost of option to buy the acquired land. So, minsan kasi bago tayo bumili ng land, parang meron tayong binabayaran na option. Kumbaga yung option na yon, binibigyan tayo ng karapatan na pumili kung bibilhin ba natin yung lupa or hindi. So, kung yung option na binili natin ay in-exercise natin siya, ginamit natin siya para makapag-acquire ng land, yung binayaran natin sa option, isasama natin siya sa cost ng land. Pero kung nag-purchase ka ng option, kasi nga option lang yun, no? Pwedeng i-exercise mo siya, pwedeng hindi. So, kung hindi mo siya i-exercise, ibig sabihin hindi ka bibili ng lupa, hindi mo bibili yung land na yon. Kapag hindi mo siya in-exercise, yung cost ng option ay expense outright. So, ibig sabihin, kung in-exercise mo si option, binili mo si lupa, yung nagastos mo para sa option, isasama mo sa cost ng lupa. Pero kung nagbayad ka for the option, pero hindi mo in-exercise yung option to acquire that specific land, then dapat expense outright yung halaga ng option. Kasi meron tayong certain amount na binabayad para dun sa option na yon. Then, special assessment taxes paid by landowner as contribution to the cost of public improvement. So, eto mga special assessment taxes parang pinapabayaran sa atin yan, no, ng gobyerno. So, ayun, kasama din siya sa cost ng land natin. Then, sa building naman po tayo. So, ayan, kailangan yung tandaan yan, no? Or kailangan yung intindihin kasi lahat yan, chargeable siya to the land. So, excuse me, sa building naman po tayo. So, the following expenditures are normally charged to the building account when building is acquired by purchase. Ito kapag binili natin siya, yung building. Kasi possible nga, ipa-construct din natin siya. So, yung purchase price ng building, kung magkano natin siyang binili, yung legal fees and other expenses incurred in connection with the purchase. So, lahat din, parang sa land lang, lahat ng magagastos natin in terms of legalities para ma-purchase si building, isasama natin sa cost ng building. Tapos, parang yun sa land lang din, yung mga unpaid real property taxes up to the date of acquisition. So, hanggang sa mabili mo yung building, lahat ng hindi pa nababayarang real property taxes, basta inassume ni buyer, kasama na yon sa cost ng building. Pero once na ma-purchase na natin siya, lahat ng real property taxes subsequently after the purchase, expense outright na din siya. Parang sa land lang po. Tapos yung mga interest, mortgage, liens, and other encumbrances on the building assumed by the buyer. Ayun, yung, kung merong mga utang na naka-attach din doon sa building. Kasi possible may mga mortgages din yun. So, kung si buyer na yung magbabayad doon, kasama siya sa cost ng building. Tapos, payments to tenants to induce them to vacate the building. Kasi kung building yan, possible may mga naninirahan din doon, no? Mga illegal settlers, papaalisin din natin sila. So, lahat ng cost na magagastos natin para mapaalis sila, ayan, kasama siya sa cost ng building. Then, any renovating or remodeling cost incurred to put a building purchase in a condition suitable for the intended use such as lighting installations, partitions, and repairs. Kasi possible since purchase ito, acquisition ito ng building, possible na ipaparenovate or ipaparemodel natin siya. Para syempre, mas maging maayos yung condition niya, para mas magamit natin siya doon sa usage na gusto natin. So, lahat din ng cost na magagastos natin for renovating or remodeling ay i-charge din natin siya sa cost ng building. So, ayun, kapag ka purchase. Kapag ka naman po construction, so the following expenditures are normally charged to the building when acquired by means of construction. Ibig sabihin, pag ipapagawa mo. So, we have the materials used, labor employed, tsaka yung overhead. So, parang sa production lang ng goods, merong materials, labor, at tsaka factory overhead. Tapos, yung mga building permit or license, kasi kailangan na ngayon yan, no? Kapag bago ka makapagpatayo ng bahay or ng building, kailangan merong building permit. Tapos, architect fee, kung kukuha ka ng architect, syempre, yung professional fee na ibabayad mo sa kanya. Superintendent fee, cost of excavation. Excavation, ito yata yung parang, hindi ko alam, hindi ako engineer, pero parang ayun yata yung may excavator. Alam niyo yun? Alam niyo yun? So, yung parang may malaking machine na hinuhukay, ganyan. So, ayun, hindi ko din alam. Hindi ko rin sure yung mga pinagsasabi ko. Kasi nga, hindi naman ako engineer. Pero ayan, pag cost of excavation, kasama siya sa halaga ng building natin. Cost of temporary buildings used as a construction, offices, and tools or materials shed. Kasi kapag ka magpapatayo ka ng building, for example, nagagawa sila, yung mga tauhan, nagagawa sila ng mga parang maliliit na bahay, ganyan. Tapos, sa mga maliliit na bahay na yun, dun muna nila ini-store yung mga materials na gagamitin nila. Minsan parang ginagawa din nilang barracks yun. Yung parang bahay nila, ganyan. Kasi karaniwan kapag magpapakonstruct ay from malalayo yung mga tao. So, halimbawa, sa Manila yung project, taga-Bataan ka, so magko-construct ng mga small or temporary houses doon sa kino-construct nyo sa Manila para doon kayo titira. So, yung mga temporary buildings na yon na parang ginagamit lang to store materials or tools o kaya for offices, ganyan, pero tatanggalin din yon once na matapos na yung building natin, kasama siya sa cost ng building. Then, expenditures incurred during the construction period such as interest on construction loans and insurance. Ito yung mga borrowing costs. So, yung mga borrowing costs natin, ayan, kasama siya sa cost ng building. Kasi sabi nga natin, no, merong certain portion ng borrowing cost that is capitalizable. Kakadiscuss lang natin yan kay chapter 25. So, expenditures for service equipment and fixtures made a permanent part of the structure. So, dapat etong mga service equipment at saka fixture, parang kasama siya doon sa mismong design ng building para masabi natin nakasama siya sa cost ng building. 'Di ba may mga blueprint yan, ganyan. So, kung sa blueprint meron talagang kasamang service equipment at saka fixtures, then yung halaga ng service equipment at saka fixture, kasama siya sa cost ng building. Hindi siya accounted for separately. Bakit? Kasi permanent part siya ng building natin. Then, cost of temporary safety fence around construction site and the cost of subsequent removal thereof. Kasi kapag yung mga building, ginagawa sila, di ba may ginagawan sila ng harang, ganyan. So, para hindi makita kung ano yung kinoconstruct sa loob or para hindi masyadong makaistorbo doon sa lugar na pinagko-constructan. Kasi possible, di ba, meron ding mga business nakakapaikot doon sa site ng construction natin. So, nagko-construct ng temporary fences. So, pag natapos si construction, aalisin din siya, i-remove siya. So, lahat ng cost na magagastos for the temporary safety fence at saka doon sa pagtatanggal nun once na natapos na si construction, kasama siya sa cost ng building. However daw, kung permanent fence yung ating i-construct, ibig sabihin, doon na siya, hindi din siya tatanggalin kahit matapos yung construction natin. It should be recognized as land improvement. Kasi parang bakura na talaga siya. So, land improvement natin siyang i-record. Hindi siya kasama sa cost ng building. Tapos, safety inspection fee. Kasi, ayan, kailangan din natin siyang bayaran kapag ka nagpapakonstruct tayo. So, kasama din siya sa cost ng building. Ayun, so those are the expenses included in the cost of the building. Tapos, we have the land improvements. Eto si land improvements, nakahiwalay siya sa land. Kasi si land, sabi nga natin, hindi siya nagde-depreciate. Pero itong mga land improvements natin ay nagde-depreciate sila, no? So, sabi nga dito, land improvements not subject to depreciation are charged to the land account. Kasi nga, si land, hindi siya nagde-depreciate. Ang example daw nito, yung mga cost of surveying, cost of clearing, cost of grading, leveling, and landfill, and cost of subdividing. So, nabasa natin yan kanina, di ba? Sa mga costs that are chargeable to land. However, kapag ka nagde-depreciate yung mga land improvements, such as yung mga bakuran, ganyan, ang tawag sa kanya or ang classification sa kanya ay land improvement. So, ang mga examples nito is yung mga fences, water systems, drainage systems, sidewalks, pavements, and cost of trees, shrubs, and other landscaping. Kasi itong mga to, nagde-depreciate sila. So, oo, nakatayo sila doon sa mismong lupa, but since nagde-depreciate sila, dapat sa land improvement natin siya ilagay. So, ihihiwalay natin siya ng classification kay land. Kasi si land hindi nagde-depreciate. So, sidewalks, pavements, parking lots, or driveways. So, such expenditures are charged to the building account if part of blueprint for construction of new building. So, ito yung sinasabi ko na kung itong mga to, si sideways, pavements, parking lot, driveway ay sa plano pa lang nung building natin, kasama na siya. As in, meron ka talagang ilalagay na sidewalk doon, meron ka talagang ilalagay na parking lot, ganyan, then dapat yung mga cost nila sa building natin isasama. Pero kung hindi siya nakasama doon sa blueprint, so on the other hand, such expenditures occasionally made or incurred not in connection with the construction of a new building are charged to land improvements. Ibig sabihin, kung hindi talaga siya part ng plano, kung hindi talaga siya part ng blueprint, dapat itong mga to sa land improvement natin siya ika-classify. So, si sidewalks, pavement, parking lot, and driveways, pagkasama sa blueprint, kasama sa cost ng building. Pag hindi kasama sa blueprint, land improvement naman siya. Then, claims for damages. So, where insurance is taken during the construction of a building, the cost of insurance is charged to the building. So, possible kasi habang nagpapagawa tayo ng building, meron tayong babayaran na insurance. So, yung insurance, habang nagpapagawa tayo ng building, isasama natin siya sa cost ng building. Ang dahilan is that it is necessary and reasonable cost of bringing the building into existence. Para if ever na magkaroon ng problema, di ba, merong sasalo sa atin. However, where insurance is not taken and the entity is required to pay claims for damages for injuries sustained during the construction, the payment for damages should be expensed outright. So, halimbawa na lang, merong na-aksidente, ganyan, doon sa pinapakonstruct natin na building. So, lahat ng magagastos natin para doon sa damages na hinihingi sa atin, lahat yon expense outright. Kasi daw, it is a reflection of management failure or negligence. So, to charge the damages to the building would be tantamount to concealment of the management failure or negligence. So, kung kumuha ka ng insurance para maprotektahan ka against calamities, against damages, then the cost of the insurance is added to the building. Pero kung hindi ka kumuha ng insurance, tapos nagkaroon ng problema, nagkaroon ng aberya, meron kang kailangang bayaran, lahat ng magagastos mo ay expense outright. Hindi siya isasama sa halaga ng building natin. Building fixtures. So, building fixtures, ibig sabihin yung mga naka-fix na or permanent part na siya ng building natin. So, expenditures for immovable shelves, hindi na nagagalaw, cabinets, and partitions should be charged to the building account. On the other hand, kapag ka naman daw movable or nagagalaw pa siya, namumove from one place to another, it should be charged to furnitures and fixtures. Kasi nga, kapag ka immovable na siya, possible na part siya ng part siya ng plano, part siya ng blueprint ng paggagawa ng building natin. So, dapat siya ay nakalagay sa building account. Pero kung movable pa siya, pwede pa natin siyang ilipat, pwede pa natin siyang tanggalin, furnitures and fixtures. Then, ventilating system, lighting system, elevator. So, if installed during construction, ibig sabihin habang ginagawa pa lang, doon tayo nagpalagay ng ventilating system, lighting system, or elevator, dapat kasama siya sa cost ng building. Pero kung tapos na, halimbawa, tapos na yung building, saka ka lang nagpalagay ng ventilating system, lighting system, or elevator, building improvements na ang magiging classification niya. So, ano pa rin naman siya, dinidepreciate pa rin naman siya si building improvement. Nakahiwalay lang kay building. Hiniwalay siya kasi tapos na yung construction ng building, saka pa lang natin siya pinagawa. So, kung during the construction, saka nagpagawa nitong tatlong to, then dapat kasama sila sa cost ng building. Pero kung hindi, sa building improvements. Then, PIC, Interpretation on Land and Building. So, ito yung mga issues regarding kapag nag-purchase tayo ng land saka building at a single cost. So, land and old building are purchased at a single cost. So, if the old building is usable, ibig sabihin po pwede pa nating magamit. Yung single cost daw is allocated to the land and the building based on their relative fair value. Parang yung sa acquisition on a cash basis. So, nakita mo naman nakagamit-gamit pa si building. So, dapat paghahatiin natin yung single cost or yung lump sum cost between the land and the building based on their fair market value. Pero kung nakita natin na yung old building is unusable, ibig sabihin hindi na siya kagamit-gamit, talagang sira na siya or sobrang hindi na siya mapapakinabangan, ganyan. Then the single cost, yung halaga, yung presyo, should be allocated to the land only. So parang hindi na natin bibigyan ng halaga si building kasi nga unusable naman siya. Kumbaga ipapagiba mo rin naman yun hindi mo rin naman mapapakinabangan. So lahat ng cost para ma-purchase mo si land tsaka si building, kay land na lang. So parang bali zero yung mapupunta sa building natin. Then sabi dito, land and building pa rin, pinurchase at a single cost. However, the old building is demolished immediately to make room for the construction of a new building. Kasi nga, unusable na siya, diba? So, unusable na siya, papagiba mo siya ngayon para makapagpatayo ka ng panibagong building. So, any allocated carrying amount of the usable old building is recognized as a loss. So, kung usable pa si old building, kaso nga pinagiba mo siya para makapagpatayo ng new building, loss na yon. Kumbaga, loss on, anong tawag dito? Anong tawag sa pagpapagiba? Nakalimutan ko yung term. Parang loss on parang demolition ng old building natin. Tapos, if the new building is accounted for as property, plant and equipment, or investment property. Kasi possible si building, pwede rin siyang PPE, pwede rin siyang investment property, pwede rin siyang inventory. Parang sa land lang kanina. However daw, kapag ka naman siya ay isang inventory, any allocated carrying amount of the usable old building is capitalized as cost of the new building if the new building is accounted for as inventory. So, kung property, plant, and equipment or investment property yung new building natin, then lahat ng cost na meron kay usable old building is loss. Pero kung inventory, yung new building natin, kung inventory siya, kung binebenta natin siya, lahat ng cost doon sa usable old building naman ay isasama natin sa cost ng new building. Kumbaga, titingnan mo yung classification niya. Ulitin ko, kung ang classification ng new building ay PPE or investment property, then yung halaga ng old building na pinademolish natin, loss na yon. Pero kung yung classification ng new building ay inventory, then yung halaga ng old building na pinademolish natin ay isasama sa halaga ng new building. So, meron naman tayong example dyan later on. So, the demolition cost minus salvage value is capitalized as the cost of the new building, whether the new building is accounted for as property, plant, and equipment, investment property, or inventory. Demolition cost, ibig sabihin yung magagastos mo para para mapabagsak or para mapasira yung old building. Tapos minsan kasi meron kang mga mabebenta doon, so possible meron kang salvage value. So ima-minus mo siya, ile-less mo siya. So yung pinaka-net nun, isasama natin sa cost ng new building. Needless to say, the net demolition cost is capitalized as cost of the land if the old building is demolished to prepare the land for the intended use but not to make room for the construction of a new building. Kumbaga, pinademolish mo lang si old building pero wala ka namang papatayong new building. So, lahat ng net demolition cost kay land natin siya i-charge. So, next naman natin is yung mga building na na-acquire. So, building acquired and used in prior period but demolished in the current period to make room for the construction of a new building. Kumbaga, yung building nakasama ng land nung pinurchase natin is ginamit muna natin siya. Kumbaga, pinakinabangan muna natin siya tapos sa susunod na period, saka lang natin siya pinademolish para makapagpa-construct tayo ng bagong building. So, kung ang new building daw na ipapatayo natin is recognized as property, plant, and equipment, investment property, or inventory, so kahit alin dyan sa tatlong yan, yung carrying amount daw ng old building is recognized as a loss. So, dito no, sa case na to ay ginamit muna natin si old building, tapos after some time, sa next period, saka natin siya pinademolish para makapagpa-construct ng bagong building. Dito kasi sa mga nauna, pinademolish natin yung old building agad-agad. Kumbaga, hindi na natin talaga siya totally ginamit. Pinademolish na natin siya, nagpatayo na tayo agad ng new building. So, parang nagkaroon ng difference ng classification, whether kung PPE ba siya, investment property, or inventory. Dito naman sa pangatlo, sa number 3, is pinakinabangan muna natin, ginamit muna natin yung old building for some time, saka lang natin siya pinademolish, tapos nagpatayo ng new building. So, kapag gano'n, yung carrying amount daw ni old building, loss natin siya ilalagay kahit na yung new building is classified as PPE, investment property, or inventory. Tapos, yung net demolition cost, which is yung demolition cost minus the salvage value, is kakapitalize din natin siya as the cost of the new building. So, isasama natin siya sa cost ng new building natin. And sabi din, if the old building is subject to a contract of lease, any payments to tenants to induce them to vacate the old building shall be charged to the cost of the new building. So ito, kapag yung old building daw ay pinarentahan pa natin, ganyan. So pinarentahan pa natin siya sa ibang tao or sa ibang tenants. Tapos syempre, since ipapademolish natin siya, kailangan at paalisin natin yung mga nagre-rent na yon. So, para daw mapaalis natin siya, meron tayong magagastos na payments, meron tayong cost na magagastos, lahat yon i-charge natin sa cost ng new building. Ayan. So, that's it para sa lecture part. Di ba medyo maiksi lang siya. So, punta tayo doon sa iilang problems na sasagutan po natin. So, let us start with problem 26-1. Ito ay multiple choice, no? Kasi parang isa lang din yata or dalawa yung hindi multiple choice dito for chapter 26. So, K Company purchased for 4,500,000 a tract of land as a factory site. So, ibig sabihin, gagamitin natin as a plant site itong tract of land na binili natin. So, an existing building on the property was raised and construction began on a new factory building which was completed at year-end. Ibig sabihin, dito sa 4,500,000 na yan, land and building talaga siya. Kaso yung existing building na nando doon ay pinagiba natin siya agad-agad within that specific year, tapos nagpa-construct tayo ng bagong building. At yung bagong building na yon ay nakompleto siya within the year end. So, parang within 1 year, nakompleto din siya. Tapos, ito yung mga cost na nagastos natin. So, ang first question natin, what amount should be reported as cost of factory building and what amount should be reported as cost of land? So dito, kung mapapansin natin, no, hindi tayo binigyan ng fair market value nung land tsaka nung building natin. Ibig sabihin, parang unusable na yung ating old building. Kumbaga, wala na siyang fair market value. So in this particular case, dapat yung buong purchase price, isasama na lang natin sa cost ng land natin. So kapag ka ganito, ang normal na ginagawang process is ganyan. So, lalagay mo lang yung land tsaka yung building. Tapos, ililist down lang natin lahat ng cost nila. Yan. So, purchase price. So, hindi tayo binigyan ng fair value, no? And at the same time, ay pinagiba din natin agad-agad yung ating building para makapagpa-construct ng new building. So, kahit silent yung problem, we can assume that the old building is unusable. Hindi na siya magagamit since wala ngang fair value na ibinigay sa atin and pinagiba din siya agad. So, lahat ng purchase price na 4,500,000 sa land lang natin ilalagay. Tapos, cost of raising old building. Kumbaga yung demolition cost ng old building. Di ba sabi natin yung net demolition cost? So yung demolition cost less the salvage value sa new building natin siya i-charge. So lagay ko nga dito factory building para mas ma-indicate na ito yung bagong building natin. Factory building. Ayan. So, dito siya kay new building, si 300,000. Yung cost of raising old building. Demolition cost kasi yan. Tapos, title, insurance, and legal fees to purchase land. So, specifically, no? Ay, sorry. Di ko pala nalagyan ng label to. Dito pala. 300,000. Tapos, cost of raising old building. Ayan. Tapos, title insurance and legal fees. Nakalagay naman to purchase the land. So, ibig sabihin, kay land lang siya. 200,000. Then, next is the architect fee. Architect fee sa pagpapakonstruct ito ng ating bagong building. So, syempre, doon siya kay new building natin. 950,000. Tapos, new building construction cost, ibig sabihin, ito yung materials, labor, at saka overhead. So, syempre, doon siya sa new building natin. So, dito natin ilalagay 8 million pesos. Then, paving of street and sidewalk. Si paving of street and sidewalk, hindi siya kasi specifically binanggit, no, kung part ba yan ng blueprint ng building natin or not. So, kapag ganon, i-assume natin na hindi siya part ng blueprint. Therefore, itong pavement of street and sidewalk, land improvement natin siyang ika-classify. So, wala namang hinihinging tanong sa atin regarding land improvement, ibig sabihin, ito lang yun dapat nating i-consider. So, plus lang natin yan para makuha natin yung total cost. So, ibig sabihin for the land, 4,500,000 plus 200,000, that is 4,700,000. For the factory building, 300,000 plus 950,000 plus 8 million, that is 9,250,000. So, 9,250. Yan. So, ayan na yung mga hinihinging tanong sa atin. So, for number 1, how much is the cost of the factory building? This would be the answer, 9,250,000. So, that is letter A. Number 2, how much is the cost of the land? So, ito naman yung sagot natin, 4,700,000. So, that is also letter A. So, that's the answer for problem 26-1. So, let's move forward to problem 26-2, which is hinihingi din yung cost ng land at saka yung cost ng building. So, Newman Company purchased a parcel of land as a factory site. So, kung factory site, PPE na naman po yan, no? For 1 million pesos. So, an old building on the property was demolished and construction began on a new building which was completed at year end. So, supposedly, meron ding old building doon sa land na binili natin. And at the same time, pinademolish din natin siya agad-agad, tapos nagpa-construct agad din tayo ng panibagong building which is nakompleto din at year end. So, ito yung mga nagastos natin sa kanya. So, ang tinatanong sa atin, how much is the cost of the land and how much is the cost of the building? So, katulad kanina, since ito, yung old building is pinademolish din agad-agad to give way for the construction of the new building which was completed on the same year sa iisang taon na yon. So, ibig sabihin, yung purchase price na meron tayo, kay land na lang natin din siya ilalagay. Because at the same time, wala din naman binigay sa atin na fair value nung building. So, ibig sabihin, possible that it is unusable. So, lagay natin purchase price. Yung buong 1 million pesos kay land natin ilalagay. Tapos, we have demolition of the old building. Katulad nung nabanggit natin kanina, yung mga demolition costs, they are chargeable to the cost of the new building. So, demolition cost, which is 100,000. Then, architect fee. So, architect fee, dahil nagpapakonstruct din tayo, 175,000. Architect fee sa building din yan, 175,000. Then, legal fee for title, investigation, and purchase contract. So, pag nabasa nyo yung word na title, sa land na yun, no? Kasi yung land naman yung merong title. So, legal fee for title, investigation. So, sa land yan, 25,000. Tapos, construction cost, yun magagastos natin sa pagpapakonstruct ng ating bagong building. Dito siya kay new building, 5,450,000. Tapos, salvage materials resulting from demolition. Ibig sabihin, nung pinademolish natin si old building, meron pa tayong possible na maibenta or naibenta na 50,000. Di ba net demolition cost kasi yung kasama? So, si demolition cost 100,000, ileless natin ngayon yung salvage value dito. Salvage materials. Ileless mo dapat. Deduct yan, no? Kapag ka salvage materials or salvage value na nakuha from demolishing the old building. So, plus lang din natin yan para makuha natin yung kanilang total cost. So, si land, 1 million plus 25,000. That is 1,025,000. Si building, 100,000 plus 175,000 plus 5,450,000. Tapos minus 50,000. So, this is, ayan, 5,675,000. So, double roll lang din natin. So, ayan na yung hinihingi sa atin for problem 26-2. So, number 1, how much is the cost of the land? 1,025,000. Number 2, how much is the cost of the building? 5,675,000. So, ganun lang siya palagi, no? Dito sa chapter na to. Kailangan lang matandaan nyo or maintindihan nyo yung mga costs that are chargeable to the land and the building. So, next, problem 26-6. So, medyo malaki yung in-skip natin na problem, no? So, ayusin ko lang yung screen ko. So, for this problem, 26-6, ang hinihingi sa atin is the cost of the land, the cost of the new building, at saka yung cost ng land improvement. So, nadagdagan, no? Dito meron ng land improvement na pinapahanap sa atin. So, Fame Company incurred the following expenditures related to the construction of a new home office. So, purchase price of land and an old apartment building. So, 2 million daw natin siya nabili, no? Yung ating land. Tapos, meron daw old apartment building doon. Tapos, ang binigay lang sa atin is the fair value of the land. So, hindi tayo binigyan ng fair value ng ating old building. So, fair value lang ng land. Hindi tayo binigyan ng fair value ng old building. Diba sabi ko sa inyo noon, parang first discussion pa natin to chapter 23, na kapag ka mag-allocate ka ng cost between two property, plant, and equipment, tapos isang fair value lang yung binigay sa'yo, ilagay mo muna yung buong fair value na yon doon sa, katulad nito, ilagay muna natin yung 1,800,000 sa land. Yung matitira, doon siya kay old building. Kaya, yung buong yan, purchase price, yung fair value na lang ni land, 1,800,000. Tapos yung tirang 200,000, doon siya kay old building. So, dun siya kay old building. Kaso, hindi naman sa atin pinapahingi, no, yung halaga ng old building natin. So, new building ang hinihingi sa atin. Hindi naman natin yun isasama sa halaga ng new building. Kasi if ever na ipapa-demolish natin yun, si old apartment building, sa loss naman natin siya ika-classify or ilalagay if yung ating new building is classified as a property, plant, and equipment or investment property. Ayan. So, dito naman, parang property, plant, and equipment naman ang classification niya. Kaya yung halaga ng old building, charge to loss. Magkano yung old building? 200,000. Bakit 200,000? Kasi yung fair value ng land is 1,800,000. Binigay na natin sa kanya lahat. Hindi kasi tayo binigyan ng fair value ng old building. So, charge lang natin siya sa loss. Then, legal fees, including fee for title research. So, sabi ko nga po, kapag ka nakakita kayo ng word na for title, ganyan, ibig sabihin sa land yun. So, legal fees natin, 100,000. So, ito yun, 100,000. Then, payment of land mortgage and related interest due to the time of sale. So, parang doon sa land, meron siyang nakalagay na mortgage. So, inassume natin yung mortgage na yon, ibig sabihin tayo yung magbabayad nun, no? Or tayo yung nagbayad nun. So, isasama natin siya sa cost ng land. Payment of land mortgage. So, hindi ko na binubuo, no, yung mga, anong tawag dito? Description. Mortgage. Ayan. For 200,000. Then, payment of delinquent property taxes. Assume, when you say delinquent, ibig sabihin from the past na siya. Ibig sabihin before pa ito ng time ng acquisition natin ng land. So, di ba sabi natin lahat ng unpaid real property taxes up to the date of the acquisition should be charged to the cost of the land. So, ibig sabihin ito, lahat din yan, i-charge natin sa land. Tapos, yung mga subsequent taxes na babayaran natin, ayun yung mga expense outright. When you say kasi delinquent, ibig sabihin from the past pa siya. So, payment of delinquent property taxes. So, charge natin siya sa cost ng land for 300,000. Then, cost of raising the apartment building. So, ayan, na-confirm natin, no, na pinagibangan natin yung old apartment building. So, yung demolition cost ay ang cost of raising, dun siya sa halaga ng new building. So, cost of raising na lang ang ilalagay ko, dito siya kay new building. Grading and drainage on land site. So, itong grading and drainage on land site, this is a land improvement na hindi nagde-depreciate. So, kung hindi siya nagde-depreciate, dito siya sa halaga ng land natin. So, grading and drainage on land site, 150,000. Architect fee on new building. So, ito yung pagpapatayo na natin ng new building, no? So, architect fee, dito siya kay new building, 200,000. Payment to building contractor. So, yung binayad natin doon sa gagawa ng new building natin. Payment to building contractor. Siyempre, dito siya kay new building, 8 million pesos. Interest cost on specific borrowing during construction. Ayan, so specific borrowing, ibig sabihin, capitalizable borrowing cost yan. So, kasama siya doon sa cost ng new building. Interest cost on SB na lang, specific borrowing during construction, 350,000. Payment of medical bills of employees accidentally injured while inspecting building construction, 100,000. So, ito parang habang ini-inspect nila yung building, merong nangyaring aberya. So, nagbayad tayo ng mga medical bills worth 100,000 para maipagamot sila. Diba sabi natin, in case na magkakaroon ng damages for accidental injuries, ganyan, hindi dapat natin siya isama sa halaga ng building natin. So, dapat i-expense outright natin itong 100,000 na to kasi indication yan ng management failure or kasalanan niya ng management, no? So, sabi nga sa binasa natin kanina sa standard, kung isasama mo yan sa halaga ng new building, parang pinagtakpan mo na rin yung management failure. So, hindi yan kasama. Ayan, kasi kapabayaan yan. negligence yan ng management natin. Cost of paving driveway and parking lot. So, ito naman, cost of paving driveway and parking lot, it is not indicated kung kasama siya sa blueprint. So, ang general assumption natin ay hindi siya kasama. So, ibig sabihin, sa land improvement natin siya isasama. So, cost of paving driveway and parking lot. So, dito siya sa land improvement, 400,000. Then, cost of installing lights in parking lot. So, parang kadugtong lang din siya nung cost of paving. Installing lights in parking lot. So, dito din siya sa land improvement, 50,000. Then, premium for insurance on building during construction. So, ito yung insurance na binayaran natin during construction. Ayan, yung kasama sa cost ng new building, di ba? Yung binayaran nating insurance para pagka may nangyaring sakuna, merong sasalo sa atin, ganyan. Pero yung magagastos mo na damages, expense outright talaga yon. So, ito, premium for insurance. Take note no na yung insurance dapat during construction siya. Kasi kapag after construction na, hindi na rin siya kasama sa cost ng new building. Kung after construction na kasi yon, parang sa insurance expense na siya, ganyan. Dapat during construction para makasama siya sa cost ng new building natin. 250,000. Then, cost of open house party to celebrate opening of building. So, parang anong tawag doon? Housewarming, ganyan. Yung parang magse-celebrate lang sila kasi gawa na yung building. Siyempre, wala na yan. Hindi na yan kasama sa cost ng building natin. Expense outright na lang yan. So, ayan lang naman yung mga details na binigay natin. So, add natin lahat yan para makuha natin yung total cost na hinihingi sa atin. So, for the land, plus mo lang lahat yan. So, ito yung sum niya, no? 2,550,000. So, 2,550,000. Sa new building, plus mo lang din lahat yan. So, eto naman yung sum niya, 9 million. Tapos, sa land improvement, 400,000 plus 50,000 lang. So, ang sum naman niya ay 450,000. So, ayan na yung mga hinihingi sa atin dito sa problem 26-6. So, first question, how much is the cost of the land? So, the cost of the land would be 2,550,000. Next, how much is the cost of the new building? So, mali ako ng pagkakatype dito, kulang ng 0. The cost of the new building is 9 million pesos. Then, how much is the cost of the land improvement? Ito naman po yun, 450,000. So, di ba ganun lang ang mga tanong dito sa chapter na to? More on pili-pili ka lang kung saan sila kasama, kung saan capitalizable yung cost. Next problem naman natin, ito wala na itong, may choices pa rin pala si problem 26-8. So, ayusin ko lang yung spreadsheet ko. So, for problem 26-8, ang pinapahanap din sa atin is what total cost of land should be reported in the Statement of Financial Possession under Property, Plant, and Equipment. So, under PPE lang, no? Ibig sabihin, kung investment property or inventory siya, hindi dapat kasama dito sa unang tinatanong. Kasi yung land lang, that is classified under PPE. Yung pangalawang tanong, how much is the cost of the new building? So, isa-isayin natin yung problems. So, during the current year, Rock Company reported the following transactions relating to land and building. So, a piece of land was acquired for 1,600,000. So, bumili daw tayo ng lupa for 1,600,000. Ayan yung pinaka-purchase price niya. Then, to be able to acquire the land, 175,000 was paid to a real estate agent. Kumbaga, ito yung pinaka-commission niya. And at the same time, 50,000 was incurred to clear the land, clearing cost, kumbaga, with regards to the title. So, due to the, hindi pala to with regards to the title, parang yung mismong land yung i-clear. Kasi halimbawa, may mga puno-puno doon, madamo, ganyan. So, ipapaklear natin siya. Then, during the course of clearing the land, timber and gravel were recovered and sold for 25,000 pesos. So, ito, land ang in-acquire natin. So, syempre, yung purchase price niya, sama natin sa cost ng ating land. 1,600,000. So, ito pala, no, hindi siya specifically sinabi kung para saan yung purpose ng ating land. So, kapag ka ganon, ang general assumption natin is that it should be capitalized under the cost of our property, plant, and equipment. Ayan. So, hindi kasi specifically sinabi, no? So, PPE natin siya i-recognize. Pero kung halimbawa, sasabihin na for anong tawag dito? Undetermined use pa siya. So, doon natin masasabi na investment property siya. Dito kasi parang hindi siya specifically sinabi. So, mas safe ang assumption na PPE natin siya i-classify. So, kasama din dito yung payment to real estate agent. Payment to real estate agent na 75,000. Kasama din yung payment to clear the land na 50,000. Tapos yung mga timber, tsaka gravel na na-recover at tsaka nabenta, parang ano yun? Parang salvage value ng mga materials. Ile-less natin yan. Yung parang sa demolition lang. Diba kapag ka meron kang kinita, meron kang salvage materials na nakuha doon, ile-less mo siya sa pinaka-demolition cost. So, parang ganito lang din yun. So, less mo yung timber and gravel, recovered and sold. So, recovered na lang for 25,000. So, minus mo yan. So, ulitin ko, itong first tract of land natin should be classified as property, plant, and equipment. Kasi, wala naman sinabi na meron siyang other na paggagamitan. So, ito na yung cost ng first piece of land natin. Tapos, pangalawang asterisk, a second piece of land with a building was acquired for 4,500,000. So, ito land and building na siya, no? So, the appraiser valued the land at 2 million and the building at 1 million. So, ito yung parang magiging pinaka-basis ng paghahati ng halaga ng land tsaka ng building natin. So, yung purchase price of second land with building. Eto pala, specify ko din. Purchase price of first land. Eto yung first land naman, wala naman yung building. Eto, land tsaka building siya for 4,500,000. So, proportion lang natin siya. Based on this appraised value. 2 million sa land, tapos 1 million sa building. So, kapag tinotal mo siya, yan, pag tinotal natin, para makuha natin yung fraction, 2 million sa land, tapos 1 million sa building. So, ang pinaka-denominator natin is 3 million. So, dito ko na lang ilalagay yung land natin, 4,500,000 times 2M divided by 3M. 2M kasi 2 million yung appraised value niya. Sa building naman, 4,500,000 na purchase price times 1M kasi 1 million yung appraised value niya divided by 3M. 3M kasi 3 million yung total. So, proportion lang natin yan. 4,500,000 times 2 over 3. So, 3 million yung mapupunta kay land. Kay building naman, 4,500,000 times 1 over 3. 1,500,000 naman yung mapupunta doon sa building natin. Yan. So, 1,500,000 ang mapupunta sa ating building. Kaso pala, new building pala yung tinatanong sa atin, no? Ito, old building ito. So, lagyan ko nga din. Old building. Tapos, samahan ko na lang ng new building. Kahit hindi naman hinihingi. So, ayan. No, take note, no? Itong 1,500,000 sa old building yan. Yung tinatanong sa atin ay sa new building. So, lagay ko na lang din dyan, no? Kahit hindi naman siya hinihingi sa atin. Then, shortly after acquisition, the building was demolished at a cost of 100,000. So, na-demolish daw yung ating old building at a cost of 100,000. So, yung demolition cost, dun siya kay new building. So, demolition cost. Dito siya kay new building, 100,000. So, liitan ko lang para magkasya sila sa screen. Yan. So, ulitin ko, itong 1,500,000 kay old building yan, no? Hindi siya kasama sa new building natin. Ito yung pinaka-value niya based on the appraised value. Tapos, since pinademolish siya para makapagpatayo ng new building, yung demolition cost kay new building na natin isasama. So, a new building was constructed at a cost of 5 million plus excavation fee of 50,000, architect fee 80,000, and building permit 70,000. So, lahat yan sa new building. So, construction cost. Construction cost is 5 million. Excavation fee is 50,000. Architect fee ay 80,000 at saka building permit. Ang building permit ay 70,000. Yan. So, possible itong old building natin will be classified as a loss. Lalo na kung itong new building natin will be classified as property, plant, and equipment. Therefore, yung cost ng old building, loss na natin yan. Then, pangatlo, a third piece of land was acquired for 2 million pesos and was held for undetermined use. So, kung undetermined use yan, hindi yan property, plant, and equipment, it should be classified under investment property. So, lakihan ko lang. So, investment property yan kung undetermined use po siya. Hindi siya property, plant, and equipment. Ang hinihingi lang kasi sa atin is the cost of the property, plant, and equipment. Ayan. So, ayun lang naman yung details natin. So, kunin lang din natin yung pinaka total cost nila. Total cost. So, for the land, plus lang natin yan. So, ito yung sum niya. So, nagkamali pala ako ng sulat, no, dito sa payment to real estate agent. Kasi dapat ay 175,000 siya. 75,000 lang yung nasulat ko. Ayan. Eto, no, so 75,000 lang nasulat ko. So, 175,000. So, plus lang natin yan lahat. That is 4,800,000. Tapos, si old building, 1,500,000. Tapos, yung new building natin, ayan, 5,300,000. So, ang first question sa atin, what total cost of land should be reported in the statement of financial possession under property, plant, and equipment? The answer would be 4,800,000. So, ito, si letter B, boy. Ulitin ko, hindi kasama yung third piece of land kasi investment property siya. Ang hinihingi lang sa atin yung under ng PPE. So, boy yung sagot for number 1, 4,800,000. So, double roll natin yan. Pangalawang tanong, how much is the cost of the new building? So, ang cost naman ng new building natin is 5,300,000. Ayan. So, red ko lang din, tapos double roll natin. So, boy din siya, 5,300,000. Etong cost ng old building, it should be charged as loss. Lagay ko na lang dito, no? So, the cost of the old building should be recognized as loss. So, loss na siya, no? Kasi yung classification ng new building natin is under siya ng property, plant, and equipment. Kung under kasi siya ng inventory, etong 1,500,000, isasama natin siya kay new building. Kaso nga, ito ay property, plant, and equipment. So, therefore, loss natin siyang ika-classify. So, that's it for problem 26-8. So, next po is problem 26-9. So, I think this is the final problem. At itong final problem na to ay wala siyang pagpipilian. So, determine the cost of the land that should be reported under property, plant, and equipment lang din. So, dapat under PPE lang din. Tapos, yung cost ng building natin. So, ayusin ko lang yung aking spreadsheet. So, let us read the problem. Lazarus Company reported the following transactions during the current year. So, we have 4 transactions here, A, B, C, and D. So, Lazarus Company reported the following transactions during the current year. Letter A, land site number 621 was acquired for 3 million pesos. The entity paid 200,000 commission to a real estate agent. Cost of 150,000 was incurred to clear the land for the intended use but not to make room for the construction of a new building. So, ibig sabihin dito kay land site number 621, hindi pa tayo magpapatayo ng panibagong building. Kumbaga, gusto lang natin maklear yung ating lupa. So, during the course of clearing the land, timber and gravel were recovered and sold for 50,000. So, ibig sabihin, itong si land site number 621 ay hindi pa siya gagamitin for future plan. Ay hindi pa siya gagamitin para makapagpatayo ng new building. Ayan. Pero wala rin naman sinabi that it will be held for undetermined use. Wala rin sinabi na for capital appreciation. Wala rin sinabi na for sale siya. So, ang general assumption natin is that it will be used as a future plant site under siya ng property, plant, and equipment. So, yung buong 3 million na yan, sama natin sa cost ng land natin. Siyempre, sama din natin yung commission doon sa real estate agent natin. Ang commission sa real estate agent is 200,000. Pati na rin yung clearing cost nung ating land worth 150,000, sama din natin. But take note no na meron tayong nakuha ulit na timber at saka gravel doon. So, ilaless din natin yan. So, yung parang salvage value lang no sa demolition cost. So, ito parang salvage value siya sa clearing cost naman natin. So, yung sale of timber and gravel for 50,000 pesos. Ayan. So, parang mapapansin nyo, no, kapag generally hindi sinasabi sa atin kung para saan si land or si building, we can assume na PPE siya. Mag-a-assume lang tayo ng otherwise if bibigyan tayo ng problem, ng sign na para siya sa investment property or para siya sa inventory. Next, letter B, a second tract of land site number 622 with a building was acquired for 4 million. The land fair value was 2,500,000 and the building fair value was 1,500,000. So, shortly after acquisition, the building was demolished at a cost of 300,000 to make room for the construction of the new building. So, dito sa 4 million na to, ayan, hati yung land tsaka yung building natin. So, meron tayong old building, no? Tapos, ang binigay sa atin yung kanilang fair value. So, pag tinotal mo naman yung fair value nila, 2,500,000 daw yung sa land, tapos 1,500,000 yung sa building, equal lang naman siya doon sa acquisition price. So, generally, hindi na natin kailangan pang mag-proportion, no, para ma-allocate natin si 4 million. However, this old building was demolished. So, pinademolish po siya para makapagpa-construct tayo ng new building. So, katulad kanina, ilalagay ko na din dito, no, kasi baka hanapin nyo. So, maglagay tayo ng old building dyan, tapos dito na lang si new building. Kasi minsan din sa mga problems, tinatanong magkano yung isa-charge sa old building natin. So, ito si land site number 622. So, hindi na natin kailangan pang mag-proportion, no? Kasi equal naman yung fair value doon sa purchase price nila. So, 2,500,000 kay land, kay old building, 1,500,000. Tapos, nagpa-demolish daw tayo. Siyempre, yung demolition cost natin, doon natin siya ilalagay sa halaga ng new building natin. 300,000. Yan, ganyan po siya. Then, letter C, a third tract of land site number 623 was acquired for 2 million and was classified as held for sale. So, ito held for sale siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya property, plant, and equipment. Pwede natin siyang ilagay doon sa current asset natin as part ng inventory. Kasi nga, held for sale siya. Ibig sabihin, dapat ibenta natin siya. So, ito, classified siya as current asset. Then, dog, a new building on the second tract of land was constructed for 5 million pesos plus the following cost. Kumbaga, itong si 5 million pesos, construction cost niya. So, construction cost. Hindi ko sinama dito sa land yung 2 million, no? Kasi nga inventory siya. Ang pinapahanap lang kasi sa atin yung land na ika-classify as PPE. So, construction cost natin sa new building yan, 5 million. Tapos, meron pa daw mga magagastos such as excavation fee. So, excavation fee sa new building din, 50,000. Tapos, meron ding architectural design fee. So, si architectural design fee, sa new building din yan, 150,000. Building permit, sa new building din po yan, 250,000. Tapos, meron dito, sabi, imputed interest on funds used during construction. So, 500,000. Itong imputed interest on funds used during construction, hindi natin siya dapat isama sa cost ng new building. Kasi, hindi naman sinabi na nag-borrow tayo or nangutang tayo specifically for the construction of the building. Kumbaga, lahat lang ng nagastos natin sa building, kinumpute lang yung interest, pero hindi naman sinabi na nangutang tayo, na nagkaroon ng borrowing. Pero kung sasabihin na nagkaroon ng specific borrowing or general borrowing, doon natin isasama yung cost na to, si 500,000. Kaso hindi naman. Sabi lang ay meron siyang imputed interest. Kumbaga, kinumpute lang magkano yung magiging interest nung lahat ng nagastos natin for the construction of the building. Pero hindi sinabi na nangutang tayo. Therefore, hindi natin siya po pwede i-treat as capitalizable borrowing costs. Yan. So, ayun lang yung mga given sa atin. Total lang din natin siya. So, total cost. So, si land, 3 million plus 200,000 plus 150,000 minus 50,000 plus 2,500,000. Ang total cost niya is 5,800,000. So, ayan yung hinihingi sa atin, no? Doon sa first na question. Magkano yung land that is capitalized as property, plant, and equipment? Ulitin ko, yung third tract of land natin hindi kasama kasi inventory yan. Tapos dun sa second question, magkano yung halaga ng new building? Ito naman po yung sagot. Ang halaga ng new building natin would be 5,750,000. Yan. 5,750,000. So, kapag tinanong kayo, ma'am, ano si 1,500,000 dito sa old building natin? Anong magiging classification niya? Loss po siya. So, the cost, sulat ko na lang dito, no? The cost of the old building na 1,500,000 should be classified as loss. So, parang yun doon lang sa naunang problem natin, no? Loss naman natin siyang i-record or i-recognize. So, that's it for Chapter 26, Land and Building. If you have any question, kindly message me na lang po. For the rest of the problems na hindi natin nasagutan, for problem 26, I will be providing po yung letter choice ng tamang sagot sa Google Classroom natin. So, if you have any questions, kindly message me po. Thank you and God bless.